you?
Good.
Good
How
to
are
see
you?
you. Thanks for having me.
Brian?
That's correct. That's
Nice
correct.
to
Good to see you, Jessica.
Thank you.
The house looks gorgeous. House looks gorgeous.
Thank you. We've worked hard on it to get it ready.
Well, it shows. It
Thank
shows. Could you lead me to the kitchen table so I can set
Sure.
my stuff down?
How about right over here? Does this work?
This sounds great. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Yeah, I thought we'd start by you taking me on a tour of your home.
Awesome. This way.
Sounds good. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to spare you guys on the tour, but understand when we are touring on the home through the home, the purpose of it is to try to get to know the client. We're looking for different ways that we can relate to them. We're looking even at pictures on the wall to see if we know people in common, if they have activities or if they're involved in different groups in common, if they have interests in common. We're trying to find ways to relate and build rapport quickly. We're also trying to ascertain their disbehavioral profile. We're trying to see what profile they are so that when we are working with them and meeting with them for the rest of this meeting, we can adjust and modify our behavioral profile so we can mirror and match them much more easily. So are they a D behavior, an I behavior, an S behavior, a C? That's going to dictate how I communicate with them for the rest of this listing appointment. So for now though, we're going to skip the tour and we're going to go right to the kitchen table where we're actually conducting the listing consultation appointment. Thanks. So, well, thank you so much. The house is beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, you've done a lot with it, it shows. If you don't mind, I would love to ask you some questions about you and your family. Because my job is to represent you in your best interests. So I really need to get to know you and you guys and what you're trying to accomplish through the sale of your home.
Okay.
Would that be okay?
Sure.
Okay, great, excellent. Well, tell me about you guys. Where did you and your husband meet?
We met in Texas and we relocated here about 19 years ago.
Okay, so you've been in California for 19 years?
I have, yeah.
Wow, okay, that's a long time. Are you officially a Californian?
I think so.
Yeah, that'll do it. Okay, okay. So 19 years you've been married, met in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you guys meet in Texas?
We went to college together. He
Oh.
lived in Texas for a couple of years.
Oh, and he's from here.
Yes.
Okay, so you're an import. They
Yes.
imported you back. Okay, got it, good. Okay, so you've been here for 19 years. Do you have a family? I saw some kids' rooms up there.
Yes, we have 2 kids and we have some extended family here. His parents and some uncles and cousins who live in the area.
Okay, and how old are your children?
11 and almost 14.
11 and 14, okay. Great, I appreciate that, okay. And what does your husband do?
We own a business.
Okay, you do, okay, so you're business owners together, okay. And what are you trying to accomplish through selling your house? Where are you thinking about moving?
Well, I wasn't from the area when we first moved here, and so I didn't really know where I wanted to live. We didn't have kids at the time, so I didn't really think of schools, and I just kind of gravitated close to where our family lived. And now I know the area better, and there's some areas I prefer to live in for school districts and just nicer neighborhoods.
Okay, okay, so let's talk about that for a minute. I think that's really important. So you're talking about moving into a nicer school district.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the name of the school district you're trying to move into?
Well, I'd like my son to go to Redwood High School.
Okay, okay. So, okay, and the Redwood High School school district is much more important to you. Why do you want him to go to Redwood High School?
Well, it seems to be the school that's always doing the best academically, and all of his friends are going there, so of course he wants to go there. So
Okay, got it. From an academic standpoint, is the idea for him to use those academics to go to college, to move past that?
most definitely, that's important to us, and we've saved a lot of money so he can go to a nice school. So we want him to do well.
Okay, so the idea is to get the best opportunities
Sure.
to succeed. And I'm assuming the same is true for your daughter?
Yes,
Or
she
we
just has a couple
yeah.
more years.
Yeah.
So we need to move because he's going to high school soon.
Okay, got it. Okay, so that makes sense. So it's based. Okay, so and we want to get him into that high school to help him advance with his life and career and college. Now, and then is there any reason for you guys to move into this area? Any motivation for you guys?
Well, yeah, I think that they have some nicer, newer homes in that area, and where we live, our home is a bit older, and we've kept it up, we've maintained it nice, but there's a lot of expensive updates that we have to do, and we're not so sure we want to stay there and spend money.
Okay. Can you tell me about some of those updates? Like, are they, when you say expensive, are we talking like adding on rooms or
just, granite counters in the bathrooms and all of those things. And, if we're going to move on, I don't know if we want to have those expenses in this house.
Okay,
so the things that we want in our next house. It's more update features.
And the way I would see it is, I mean, your son, is only going to be hopefully living with you for a little while longer.
Sure.
And then this is the house you and your husband are going to continue to live in after he's gone away to college. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, for at least several years after he goes to college, until perhaps we retire.
Okay. And you say the benefits for you and him in this nice new neighborhood?
Are just, not having to deal with home improvement projects.
Okay, just being happy right off the bat. Okay, fair enough, very good. Do you think that's a nicer part of town for you as well too?
Yeah, we have a lot of friends who live over there, so it'd be nice to be kind of nearby. And I know a lot of the neighborhoods have younger children. Our neighborhood's old, has kind of older people. Our kids don't have, neighborhood friends, so that'd be a positive too.
Okay, very good. Okay, so there's a lot of benefits to you moving into this neighborhood. That sounds good. Okay, just so I ask, this isn't going to happen, so I don't want you to get worried. But what happens if we don't sell this house and you stay in this home for the next 4 or 5 years through high school? What would that be?
Well, I guess we would try to get our son into Redwood through one of the transfer programs, but I know that's kind of tough. So he'd probably just have to go to the high school where we're currently located, and hopefully that would be good for him. But
sure,
we want him to be in the best school in the city, so that's kind of spurring the move.
And I'm assuming there'd be some negative impact because the neighborhood doesn't, your friends aren't nearby.
Sure, yeah.
Just a little bit more inconvenient in every aspect of life because now you're going to be gravitating towards this other neighborhood you don't live in.
Yeah, when we moved here, we didn't spend a whole lot of time getting to know the area. Or I didn't. My husband knew.
That's what happens when the wife's the import.
Yeah.
Because the husbands just don't do that kind of stuff.
And so I would have chosen differently had we lived here longer.
Yeah. I get that. Okay. Okay, great. So it sounds like there's pretty good motive. You have a very good reason. You passed my test at least. You have a very good reason and a high motivation to move. And if we don't make some changes, it's basically the quality of life is just not going to be the same for the next 5 years. So there's, to me, you passed that test on motivation. Okay, so let's move forward. And now I want to take a quick little break here because what I've just done talking to the camera is a needs analysis where I went through her past and learned a little bit about them to get to the present period of time. And then I kind of went in a fork in the road and I went through what I call future pleasure, where I wanted to find out what they get out of moving. And then I went into future pain, where I actually figured out, and this is where a lot of people don't go, and it's a little awkward at times, what happens if you don't move? Okay? Not that I really want to know it as much as I want her to think about it, because we're about to start talking about the price of the home, and I want her to self-discover or self-remember why it's so important for her to move. Because a lot of people are very uncomfortable with doing uncomfortable things to get the results they want. And most sellers have an unrealistic expectation of what their home is worth. And if they're going to sell it and price it to get it sold for the highest price in the quickest amount of time, pricing it correctly is very important. So we have to build that motivation up right before we make that decision. So even though I may have already learned all this over the phone, in my when I was filling out the seller lead sheet, trying to learn about her, I'm going to go through it all again right with her, because we're about to have that conversation about price. And so then I'm going to move into that conversation. Okay. Now I'm also going to ask one more question before we end this, and it's the most important question that I typically ask. And you're going to see I don't spend a lot of time explaining what I do for marketing if I don't have to. I don't explain, I don't get into why they should choose me at all unless they ask me. So I walk in the door with an assumptive close. I'm here and I expect to get the listing. We're just here to talk about price, okay? And you will find out that the vast majority of times that will work. Usually up to the 80-90% of the time that will work. So trying to justify why they should choose you is actually going to cause doubt in them, because I feel the need to justify it. Now, what's wrong? Why does he have to justify it? Does that make sense? She's already choosing me. So it's going to be an assumptive close where I move into it. And the way that I kind of graciously move past that is I ask the question, besides price, is there anything else you'd like to know about me?
I don't think so. Mostly interested in price today.
Yeah, good answer. So what happens there is I just dangled the price because that's what she wants to know. She wants to know. That's what every seller wants to know is, what can I get for my house? They've been thinking about it. Trust me, they've actually already spent the money. The seller's proceeds have been spent. They know where it's going. Okay? So you're there. The biggest thing they want out of you is you've already done the physical fitness test, which is the hardest part. You look through it. So now they're dying to know what I think it can sell for. So I just said, do you have any questions for me, or should we just talk about price? They're like, price, I want price. So I just moved right through the concerns over me by dangling that out there in front. And now we're just talking about price. Once we agree on our price, we write it on the listing agreement, we move forward. And that's the end of the listing presentation, okay? Now, we do have some videos for you about how to overcome a lot of common objections that may come up along the way. For example, and there's 3 really big ones here. There's price, because she may object to the price. I might give her a very realistic price, and she has an unrealistic one. And we have to get that price down so that it will sell, so she gets in the neighborhood that she wants. Number 2, it could be urgency. She might say, we're gonna wait to sell, okay? Or number 3, which is not usually a good idea, because waiting is putting her on hold, it puts me on hold, and decreases the chances that she's going to get into that school district for her son. And number 3, it's whether she should choose me or not, and or my commission. So she might, have an objection about what I charge, and that might turn into whether she should hire somebody else instead of me. So we're going to have those in separate videos. You will find out that if you do run your listing presentation through this process, I would say, like I said, 80-90% of the time you will not encounter these objections. If you do encounter one, it'll likely be on price the most. But oftentimes, if you run this the proper way, you will not get any objections. We'll get the house listed up for sale. Okay, Jessica, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being our seller in this video. Thank you, guys.